Hello and welcome to this video. In this video I will show you how to crochet around a frame. I have here a triangular frame and I have some yarn. I will use this yarn and I will create the first loop. In order to make the first loop, I will put the yarn around my finger like this. Then I will take it back this way and I'll create a cross here, like this. I will put my crochet under this part of the cross, grab with the hook of my crochet the other part of the cross, and I will make this loop. So this is my first loop. Now I will take the frame and I will put my crochet through the frame, grab the yarn like this through the frame, and now I have created two loops here. Now I will grab the yarn from outside the frame and put it through my first loop like this and through the other loop like this, and I have created one loop. And I will repeat these steps until I cover the entire frame with those loops like this. So let's repeat. So I have one loop here. I put my crochet inside the frame and grab the yarn, and now I have formed two loops here. Now I will grab the yarn again and put the yarn through my two loops, and I create one loop this way. Let's repeat one more time, and then I will continue until I cover the entire frame with loops. And when I reach this point here, I will show you how to close this frame. So I put the crochet inside the frame, I grab the yarn and create two loops. Now I grab the yarn from outside and put it through my two loops to form one more loop. So as you can see, I have already covered a part of my frame. So I will continue doing the same steps until I get back here. And now I have created the last loop, and let's close the loops. I will grab the first loop that I created. I will take the cord and put it through the first loop and then through my last loop that I created like this, and this is how I covered this frame with loops. So all we have to do now is cut this cord and hide the cord under my other loops so that it is no longer visible. So this is how you cover a frame with loops. Now let's learn how to make the chain arch trim. So I have covered this frame with loops, and now I will start to make the decoration on the edge. So in order to make the chain arch trim, I have this loop here, and I will create a series of loops. So I will take the cord and make several chain loops. So I made 1 loop, 2, 3 and 4 loops like this. And now I will look at my loops here. I will look not for the first loop, so I will count 1 and 2 loops, and I will put my crochet through the second loop like this. I will grab the yarn, put it through this loop, and now I have created 2 loops like this. And again I will take the yarn and put it through my loops, through 1 loop and through the second loop like this, and I have created 1 more loop. And again I will create a chain of loops, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now that I have created the 4th chain loop, I will look at my loops. I will count 1 and 2 loops like this. Again, I put my crochet through the second loop like this, and now I take the cord out through my second loop, and I have again created 2 loops. Now I take my yarn and put the yarn through the 2 loops and create 1 loop. And now again I make 1, 2, 3, 4 loops like this. And I will count 1 and 2 loops. And in the second loop I will put my crochet and again I grab the yarn, put it through the loop, now I grab the yarn and put it through the 2 loops and create 1 more loop. And as you can see, I already created the chain arch trim. And I will continue creating the chain arch trim all around this triangular frame until I get here, and here I will show you how to close the decoration. And now let's finish the chain arch trim decoration. So I have reached the last loop. I made the 4 chain loops here, and now I will go to the first loop here. I will take the yarn out through my first loop like this. Again I have created 2 loops. I grab the crochet and put the yarn through the first and through my second loop, and I have created this loop here. Now I will pull on this loop like this on the yarn. I will take my scissors, I will cut, I will take the yarn out, and now I have finished decorating my triangular frame with the chain arch trim, like this. And now, in order to make those yarns disappear from here, I will take the crochet and put these ends of the yarn under my loops. Like this. And now I will cut the yarn, and as you can see, the yarn has disappeared under my loops. And let's do the same thing with this other yarn. Like this. So I have put the yarn under my loops. I will cut the yarn like this. So as you can see now, the yarns have totally disappeared under my loops, and this is the finished chain arch trim decoration. Now let's make a pair of earrings out of our crochet triangles. So I will use as findings the jump rings, the French ear wires, and as tools the chain nose pliers and the jump ring opener. And let's begin. I will grab one jump ring like this with the pliers, and with the jump ring opener I will open the jump ring like this. I will put the jump ring through my earring, and I will put the French ear wire on the jump ring. And now I will grab the jump ring with the pliers and the jump ring opener like this, and I have created my first earring, crochet earring. Now I will take the second jump ring, I'll grab it with the pliers, and with the jump ring opener I'll open it. Again I will take my earring and put the jump ring through the earring like this, and I will put my second French ear wire. I close the jump ring with the pliers and the jump ring opener, and the second earring is also ready. So one thing to note is that the French ear wires have to have the tip one to the right and one to the left. Otherwise, if you put them the other way, one of the earrings will facing backwards, so it will be reversed. So always be careful in what direction you put the French ear wires, so that your earrings always face the front. Now let's see what our finished earrings look like, crochet earrings look like. In this lesson I will show you how to make a flower using some yarn and a crochet. I will begin by creating the first loop. So I will put the yarn around my finger like this, then I will turn it again around my finger until I create this X. I will put the crochet under this part of the X. I grab the other yarn like this and I take it out like this to create the first loop. This way. And now I will create a series of loops, a chain of loops, about 30 loops. So I put my crochet, the yarn around my crochet, I grab the yarn with the hook of my crochet and take it out through the previous loop, creating the next loop. So I twist the yarn around my crochet, I grab the yarn with the hook and take it out through the loop. And I repeat. And I will make a chain of loops of about 30 loops, and after that I will show you how to create the petals of my flower. And now that I have reached the last loop, I will make another 1, 2, 3, 4, and I will go back to the last loop. I put my crochet into the last loop and I take out the yarn like this, and I have created 2 loops, and I will take the first loop through the other loop and I have created another loop. And now again I will make 1, 2, 3, 3 and 4. And I'll go back 1 more loop like this. I will put the yarn through this loop. I'll make 2 loops, and then I will grab the grab the first yarn, take it out through the other yarn, and I have created 2 of these petals. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, like this. And now I go back one more loop, and I take the yarn, put it through this loop. So I have these two loops, and I take the first loop, put it through the other loop, through the second loop. Like this. One, two, three, 4. I go back one more loop, like this. I grab the yarn. I have two yarns like this. I take one of the yarns through the other loop, and I have created again one loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. I go back one loop, I grab the yarn like this, I create two loops, I take one of the loops through the other loop, like this, and I've created one loop, and again I will make 4 loops to create those petals. And I will continue doing these ornaments, these margins, until the end of my cord, and then I will show you how to create the flower ornament. So these ornaments will be continued until I reach the end of my loops. And now I will create the last loop. So I will put the crochet through the last loop and create the last ornament. I have created the 2 loops. I put one loop through the other, and I have reached the end of my loops. I will pull on the yarn like this. I will cut. I'll remove my yarn, the other yarn. I'll make a knot here, like this, and this is the shape that I have obtained. So you can use it either as a decoration this way, or we shall make a flower out of it. First of all, I will make those yarns disappear underneath the other yarns. So I will just take the crochet and put the yarn under these other yarns, so I grab the yarn and put it under the loop here, so that it is no longer visible. And now I will grab the scissors, cut the yarn, and I'll do the same with this other yarn. Now I'll put it under another yarn. So I'll grab the yarn and put it under the loop. And now I will cut the yarn and I will start creating the shape of the flower by rolling the petals like this, one over the other. So I'll put the needle through the flower again like this. Now I will put it back on the other side. So with the needle I managed to sew together the petals of the flower like this. And now on this side I will make a knot so that the flower does not open anymore. Now I will take the scissors and cut. This way. And our flower is ready. So, as you can see, it's not difficult to create a flower out of yarn. And now let's make the earrings. So I have the crochet flowers, and the next step will be to attach the findings. As findings I will be using a jump ring and the fishhook ear wires. And as tools I will use a jump ring opener and the chain nose pliers. So as you can see, the chain nose pliers are flat here, so they have no teeth, to prevent them from scratching the findings. And they have this tip here so that they can be used to grab small items, like a pair of pincers. So let's take the first jump ring. I'll grab it, and with the jump ring opener I open the jump ring. Then I will take the flower, the earring, hang the earring on the jump ring. Then I will put the French ear wire. I will grab the jump ring and close with the jump ring opener. And my first rose earring is ready. And let's do the same with the second earring. I will grab the jump ring, open it with the jump ring opener and the pliers. I will take the second flower. I will put the fishhook ear wire and I will close with the jump ring opener. And the second earring is also ready. So what you have to be careful at is that when you are making when you are attaching the fishhook ear wires, one should be pointing to the right and the other should be pointing to the left, because otherwise, if you put them in the same direction, one of your earrings will show the back and not the front when you hang the earrings on your ears. So always careful at the direction where your fishhook ear wires or French ear wires are pointing. So they should be pointing in opposite directions so that your earrings always show the face and not one the face and the other the back. So let's see our earrings. So these are our finished earrings, flower earrings. In this lesson I will show you how to use the yarn in order to create a round shape using the crochet. First of all, I will make the magic circle. I will grab the cord like this, put it around my finger like this. Then with the crochet I will put the crochet under this cord. I will take it out under the other cord like this. I create this loop, I turn the crochet around and I have created the first loop. Now I will let go of the circle that I have created and I will create the first loop like this. So I have created the first loop, and now I will unwind this cord from here, this bit of yarn from here, and my loop is ready. This loop will form the center of my rounded shape, crochet shape, and if I want to close this loop, this is what I will do. So I will make one, so I have made here, as you can see, 4 loops, and now I will take the yarn and put it around my crochet like this, and then I will put it through this circle here. I will grab the cord like this and create another loop, and then I will again take the yarn and take it out through the loop that I have created and through the second loop like this. And now I have these two loops, and I will again take it through these loops like this. And now let's repeat. So I have this loop here. I will twist the cord around my crochet. I will put the crochet through the loop like this. Then I will grab the yarn that came through the loop like this, and again I will take this yarn and put it through these two loops here like this. I have now two loops, and again I will make one more loop like this. And let's continue doing the same steps. So I will take the yarn, put it around my crochet to create this loop here. I have my magic circle here. I put the crochet through the magic circle, grab the cord like this, and now I will take the yarn like this, put it through the loops that I have created, 1 and 2 like this. I have these loops now here, and I will through these two loops like this, and I have created another loop here. So again I will twist the cord like this around my crochet, put the crochet through the magic circle, grab the cord like this, and I have created these loops. Now I will take the yarn, put it through 1, 2 loops like this way. I have created these two loops, and again I will take the cord and put it through these two loops and create another loop here. And let's continue making these steps. So I put the cord around my crochet, I put it through the circle, I take the cord out through this circle, and I have created these two loops. Again I take the cord through these two loops like this. Again I have created this loop, and I have two loops here, and I will take the yarn and put it through these two loops, and I create another loop. And now I will take this yarn out like this, and I will pull on this yarn so that I close this loop here. So as you can see, I have closed the ring here like this, and I will grab this loop here and close, close the loops here, like this. And now I will pull on this cord like this. I will take the scissors, cut, and I have this bit of cord over here. And now I have created the round shape, and I will take the crochet in order to make these yarns disappear. So I will take the crochet and grab this yarn and pull it through this loop here. Again, I'll pull it through this loop here. And like this through this loop here. Like this. Now I will take the scissors and cut the yarn like this. And I will also take this blue yarn and put it through some of these loops. So that it doesn't open. And now I will also cut the blue yarn like this. And I have created the round shape for our earrings using the crochet. And now that I have created the two crochet shapes, flower shapes, let's start making the earrings. In order to make the earrings, I will take some jump rings and I will grab the jump rings with the pliers, with my chain nose pliers, and using the jump ring opener, I will open the jump rings like this. And now I will take one of those flowers and I will put the jump ring through the flower like this. I will take one of those fishhook ear wires and put it on the jump ring, and I will close the jump ring. Like this. And I have created the first earring. And now let's also take the second earring. I will open the jump ring with the pliers and the jump ring opener. I will put the jump ring through the earring like this, through the flower decoration. And now I will put the fishhook ear wire, but I will put the fishhook ear wire in the opposite direction so that the front of the earring will be always in the same direction. Now I will close the jump ring with the pliers like this, and I have created the second earring as well. So these are my two earrings, and as you can see, in order to create a pair of crochet earrings, you only have to learn how to create the pattern, the flower pattern, the round pattern for this kind of earrings. So this is what the finished earrings look like. I will show you how to create an earring using the crochet and this earring frame. So in order to create the earring, I will first begin by creating a loop. I will grab the cord like this and create a cross. Let's see from a closer distance. So I have made this cross. I will put the crochet under this part of the cross, grab with the hook the other yarn, and I make the loop like this. And now I will take the first loop and I will put my crochet under through the frame, the earring frame, and I create this loop here. And now I will again take the yarn from the other side of the frame like this and put it through the first loop and then through the other loop like this. So with the crochet I take the yarn from inside my frame, and I create these two loops here. And now I take the yarn from outside the frame and I will take the yarn through the two loops that I have created like this. Again, I take the yarn from inside the frame, create my two loops, and then I take the yarn from outside the frame and create one loop like this. Let's repeat. I take the yarn from inside the frame and then I take the yarn from outside the frame and create the loop. So I take the yarn from inside the frame, create the two loops, I take the yarn from outside the frame, put it through the two loops and create one loop like this. And I will go around my frame with these loops, and then when I have reached this point I will make the ornaments on the lower part of my earring. So I take the yarn from inside the frame, create the two loops, I take the yarn from outside the frame and put the yarn through the two loops and make one loop. So I will continue with these steps until I cover the entire frame with these loops, and then I will show you how to create the ornaments on the lower part of the earring. And now I have reached the end of the frame, and now I will close these loops. I will put my crochet through the first loop that I created. So here I have the last loop, and here I have the first loop that I initially created. Now I will take the yarn like this and put it through these two loops like this, and I will take the yarn out like this, and I pull on the yarn like this. And I will cut. So I have put my yarn through the two loops, the first and the last loop, and I have pulled on the yarn. I created this large loop, and now I cut. I remove my yarn, and I have created this chain of loops around my frame. And now if I want to get rid of these bits of cord, I will simply take my crochet, grab the yarn, and take it out like this. Put it under these cords like this. So I will put my crochet under the loops, and then I grab the yarn and put it under these loops to make it simply disappear. Like this. And now that I put the yarn under these loops, I will take the scissors, cut the yarn, and I will also do the same thing with this other yarn. And I will cut the yarn. Like this. And now let's create the ornament on the lower side of my earring. So I will take the yarn and I'll put my crochet through one of those loops, and I will take the yarn out through this loop and I have created my first loop, and now I'll create a few more loops. So I will create 1, 2, and 3 loops like this. So I have created these 3 loops, and now I will go back with my crochet and count 1 and 2 loops, and I will put my crochet through the second loop like this, and I will grab the cord like this, take it out through this loop, and as you can see I have created 2 loops here. Again I take my yarn and put it through the 2 loops like this, and I create 1, 2 and 3 loops. Now I go back and count 1 and 2 loops like this. I put the crochet through the second loop, and now again I take my yarn and take it out through this loop, and now again I take the yarn and put it through the 2 loops that I have created, and the second like this. And now again I have a loop here, and I will make 1, 2, 3 loops like this, and I will count 1 and 2 loops, and I put my crochet through the second loop. I grab the yarn, take it out through my loop, my second loop, and I create here 2 loops. I grab the yarn and put it through the first and the second loop like this, and again I have created 1 loop here, and I make 1, 2, 3. I have created again 3 loops, and again I will count 1 and 2 loops. I grab the yarn like this, I create 2 loops, I take the yarn again through the 2 loops and create 1 loop, and make 1, 2, 3 loops in a chain like this. And now I will put my crochet through the last loop here, like this. I grab the yarn, put it through this loop. I have created these 2 loops. Again I take the yarn and put it through these 2 loops like this, and I reached the end of my earring. And then I will pull on this loop like this. I will cut. I remove my yarn, and now I have these two cords here. And again I will do what I previously did with the yarn to make it disappear. I will just take my crochet, put it under one of the loops, grab this loop, take it out like this underneath this loop. I take another yarn, put it under the second loop, and again I take another loop with the crochet, take the yarn, put it under the last loop, this way, and then I cut Now I have cut the end of the yarn, so my yarn is under these loops here, and I will do the same with this last yarn. So let's grab one of those loops, and I'll put the yarn under that loop. Again, I will take another loop and put my yarn under the next loop. I'll put it under another loop. And now I will take the scissors and cut my yarn. And as you can see, the yarns have disappeared under my loops. And this is what the earring looks like. Now if you want to create earrings, you will also need some findings. And the findings are, for this type of earrings, the findings are a jump ring and a fishhook ear wire or French ear wire. Now let's attach those findings to my earrings and create the earrings. So I will take one of those jump rings, grab it with my pliers. With the jump ring opener, I will open the jump ring. I will take one of those earrings, put the jump ring through the earring. I'll take the fishhook ear wire, like this. So I'll put, as you can see, I'll put this fishhook ear wire pointing in this direction, pointing to the right. Whereas the next earring will have the fishhook ear wire pointing to the left, because this is where we have our head, and we have one ear here and one ear here. So if we do not want our earrings to face backwards but to show us the front, this is what we have to do. So we have to be attentive where the fishhook ear wires are pointing towards. Now our jump ring was open, so let's close it. I'll close like this the jump ring, and my first earring is ready. So this is one earring. Let's take the second jump ring. I'll open it like this. I have opened the jump ring. Now I will put the jump ring through my earring like this, and again, as I told you, I'll put the fishhook ear wire pointing in this other direction so that my earrings always face the same direction, the front. I close the jump ring, and both of our earrings are ready, as you can see.